No matter what we do next with the program, we have to stop and check the antenna. We have to make sure it's resonant. $14,074 is looking like the reactance of 0, 1, resistance of 50. This looks absolutely perfect. There's no need to make any adjustments. We're going to plug this right back into the radio. You can see here this time of night 2 meters is looking kind of atrocious. We're going to see what we can do. And we're going to throw out a CQ and see who comes back to us. I want to point out that before I start, it's important that you adjust the receive level. If you go too high, there will be clipping and this line will turn red. If you set it too low, it'll go yellow. Green is where you want to be. So I've got mine set here for green. It says 30 decibels when only noise, but obviously there's not only noise, so I can't account for that. I've also gone and reduced the power here. I don't want to run full power. Also, this is going to be mixed in with whatever I have my power setting set for the output of my computer. There's something to be said there too. So this all has to be worked out as well. One thing to keep in mind, if you would like, it's already set for power meter, is to see where it's running at full power and start dialing it back when you do transmit. Now I'm bringing back the power from the main volume, and we saw that just before that transmission ended, we saw that the very last block started to disappear on the power meter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up the power here all the way to the top, come back to that, and continue to lower this. Now I could just see right there, that's where full power is. Okay? With that, I can now use this to adjust the power. So if I want 5 watts, it's all the way up here. And now I could bring it down if I want less power. So we're going to try that now on the next transmission. And it does indeed work. So from this slide bar, we could set whatever type level of power we would like to transmit on. It might be easier to answer a CQ. Whoever this guy is, I don't think he's hearing me. Yeah, 8,000 kilometers may have been a bit ambitious. We're going to see somebody maybe perhaps a little bit closer. The stateside address, 1,300 kilometers. Oh, I was picked up. At neg 17. That's a rough report. Acknowledged. Send 7.3 off. Looks like QSO. I'll log it. Why not? Here we have it. I'm actually looking at PSK Reporter right now on the other computer, and it's showing me that while I'm able to receive throughout the entire United States and South America. I am not getting out of the United States this evening, and it's probably due to these terrible conditions on 20 meters. If people aren't picking me up, it's really not doing me any good to try and transmit outside of an area I'm not capable of hitting. I want to point out a couple of things that I've noticed, and maybe some other folks have noticed too, because when you look at these receive values for decibels here, the reporting, and we can see that they're awfully low because this is in fact a weak signal. An interesting point I want to make is I have a belief, and it may be wrong, but at least I have a belief that a lot of the stations in this frequency range here, because it's almost channelized. It's not entirely channelized, but because the program locks you into these specific frequencies, you find that a lot of people are operating here for FT8, for example, around 14073, right? And this radio, for instance, that I'm operating at is maximum of 5 watts. And my thing is that there's probably a good portion of people who are not operating at 5 watts, right? People probably operating here at 50 watts, 100 watts or more, because they want to guarantee they're going to get in and get that far station, who knows where. But when you get on this program and you start getting this alarm, this warning here, right? When you go and increase the volume of the receive and kick this thing up, and you start getting the error, that what happens is you start lowering it down to get it back into green. You start bringing all of these loud stations. You can see that the warning that just appeared there, that it tells you that. What happens is you start bringing down all the stations collectively, and you bring these really loud stations into a normal level. But all of the other stations that are operating in QRP around that area, well, they're just getting completely squelched, and you're never seeing them. And it makes me wonder if, because of these constraints, that we're looking at this as a spectrum as opposed to individual signals, such as how you would operate PSK 31 on a waterfall, if this design doesn't lend itself towards QRP radios really having a good chance to operate as you would expect it would, right, in a mode like this. And you say, hey, I got this antenna set up, and it's set up really nicely, and I've tuned it, and I'm throwing it out there, and people are getting back to me, but it's not really like I expect. It may be because if they're setting up this receive volume properly, you're so far down, attenuated at that point, to make these really big guns appear normal, that nobody's ever going to hear you. And I wanted to share that important thought. Bands are open right now. Things look pretty good, so I'm just going to capture some highlights. We can see I'm operating right over here. I have transmit and receive locked. Basically, I'm waiting to see somebody coming back here. This looks like a station coming in. You see it in red was the response. I honestly don't know if it sent out what I clicked on, because the transmission already went out. Yep, so he sent it out again. I responded with the signal report. We'll see if I get back a signal report. I did, so I'll get the 3 R's. We'll see what happens. Whatever I tried. Doesn't always work. I got somebody coming in. Look at that. Wow. Again, I can never tell if that first click made it in time to send that exchange back, that acknowledgement. We'll find out. We'll judge by the response. I sent a signal report. If I get back a signal report, then maybe it went through. I did. Okay, fine. 0 dB. It's better than negative. Send back an acknowledgement, close this one out. That's not bad at all. Why not? It's about 1,000 miles. Seems to be what I'm picking up, is about 1,000 miles right now. Again, like I said, this relative power received, or what I'm receiving, what they're receiving, is all based on what people are lowering their volume to, and obviously what the conditions are on the band and what have you. So it's really hard to say. A lot of it's speculation. I'm sure a lot of these stations are using just tons of power. There's not like people who are going on WSJT to see how little power they can use. But yeah, when you look at this right here at around 1700, and you look at this faded one, and you look at this one that's just fully orange. Is it orange because he's close to me? Is it orange because that the propagation just allows for that? Or is it orange because it's like 500 watts of power? Who's to say? Unless you would ask the guy, unless there was something within the program or cat command that showed you how much power was actually being transmitted, but there isn't. It's sort of like on the honesty policy, because you can see when these radios don't have like 500 watts in them, and they don't allow for that. So you can't tell if there's an amplifier there that's doing that after it leaves the radio. I'm going to look at PSK Reporter for the work this evening, and mind you, I've only been on this about an hour, as you could see some of the oldest reports. It did okay as far as North America. It didn't extend much further, but I think it worked out pretty good, as the band was already breaking up when I started working, but did not make it to Europe or Africa or Asia as I would have hoped for, but perhaps with a better band it would have. I think this about covers my work here with WSJT-X. We started from zero, did all of the configuration, got everything up and running, were able to transmit, talk with other stations, log QSOs, talk about some of the challenges that I had faced in doing this, and was able to review some of the performance on PSK Browser. I hope you found this helpful in configuring your own QRP station, get it up and running, and able to enjoy WSJT if this is your sort of thing. So this is KJ4TLB. Thanks for watching.